Welcome to the Transformational Soul Show with your host, Ruth Soltman. Are you ready to experience more stability in your life? You can change your life and be who you are meant to be, your authentic self.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Transformational Soul. My name is Ruth Soltman, and I'm very happy to be here with you this evening. We are streaming live on Rumble, X, BitChute, and YouTube. So welcome if you're watching the live show or listening to it. You maybe, have other things to do and you're just listening while you work. Very grateful for that. Or if you are watching the replay or listening to the replay. Very grateful to have your energy here, to have you here. Please hit the like and the thumbs up button, and please share the show information. Very grateful for that as well. You never know who may see it, who may need to see it. And I mean, how did most of us get, to Goldylocks Productions? Was probably from hearing about it from someone or seeing one of the shows posted, and we thought, oh, let's take a look. Please go and check out my website, ruthsoltman.com. It's RUTH, S as in Sam, OL, T as in Tom, M as in Mary, A, N as in Nancy.com. Now you could go to my website and find out all about all of my products, my services, my books, my oracle cards, and some of my craft items are also on there. If you haven't already, come over to Telegram and join the Goldylocks Productions group over there. We have an amazing group, so much wonderful information, sharing, uplifting posts, and where, we post on there every day, multiple times a day. So come and join us over there. It is by invitation only, and the link is posted in the show information. Tiffany also has that information posted right here on the screen, and there is also a QR code to take you right to it. Now you do have to have a Telegram account, but it's pretty simple to set it up, and you don't have to do anything else on there to be in the group. So Goldylocks Productions has an online store. There's some really great merchandise there, so go check that out. The Goldylocks Oracle cards as well. If you feel moved to do so, tips and donations are graciously and gratefully accepted, and you can give one via my Venmo or a Rumble rant on Rumble. I want to wish a very happy birthday to Alif, who celebrated yesterday, and to everyone celebrating a birthday this week. Enjoy your special day. And let's send out some love, light, prayers, and healing to all those who are in need or might need a little bit extra right now, as most of us probably do. But let's especially remember Robin McGuire and her son, Carolyn Carey's daughter, Carrie, and her sister, Ginny, Maureen, Brandon, Jamie, Heidi, William, Tommy, Josh, Harley, Patty, Sarah, and her family, Jamie, Patricia, Melissa Parks and her family, Devin, Joe, Roy, Laura and her husband, Tiffany, George and their family, Carol, Susan, Bob, Joanne, and to all those who are in need. Well, hi, Heather. Nice to see you here. Haven't seen you in a while. Welcome. Or I should say welcome back. Hi, Patty. We also have Richard and Maureen and Roy and Jill watching that have commented. I know there's others of you out there. Let's see. And remember to catch our shows. We have lots of shows. Sunday through Friday, every week at 8 p.m. Eastern. And that's really easy to remember, 8 p.m. at the same time every night. And then we have the daytime shows. Now, Laura's show, that's a couple Tuesdays a month, Angels and Healing Light, has a new time, and that's 4 p.m. Eastern, which is, easy to remember too, because we have other afternoon shows at 4 p.m. Marcia's new audio podcast, which if you have not checked that out, you should call in next week and listen to the live podcast. It's really a totally different experience than, seeing us in the videos. It's really great. And her show today it's at 1 p.m. Eastern, and her guest was Alif Ahmad, was her special guest, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful show. And Alif's show, Musical Life, will be back in February, and that one is on Thursdays at 1 p.m. So Thursdays are a pretty busy day, because we also have Joanne Leo's show now on Thursdays, Soul Coaching. However, correct me if I'm wrong, Tiffany, but I don't think she'll be doing her show tomorrow. She's been a bit under the weather, and that's why we're sending her lots of love, light, prayers, and healing. Hello, Linnell. Nice to see you. Oh, cool. Linnell is in flight. She is flying right now. So if you haven't become a VIP yet, do it. Do it, do it, do it. There's a special VIP show a couple times a month, and one of the January shows was today, and it was a great show. Great show. Please join us this Saturday, January 31st, for the Spiritual Message Circle. Most of you know about the Spiritual Message Circle, but in case you don't, for a donation of $25, you get to have a message from all of the show hosts that are on the show that night, all the ones that are available. And it can range anywhere from 4 to 5. I think 5 has been the most so far. So it's a lot of fun. A lot of the information, blends together. It's really a great show. It's a lot of fun. So I hope you can join us for that. So how is everybody doing? We've had a lot of stuff to contend with over the last week. I trust that everyone made it through the cold weather we had over the weekend. We stayed comfy and warm, which I'm extremely grateful. Our wind chill in Texas did get down to like 14 degrees. The thing about living here is houses that are here are not built for that kind of weather. Because I'm from Michigan, and we had so many inches or whatever of insulation. You had a basement, then you had like your subfloor or whatever. So here the houses are built on a slab, so it's very cold on the floor, and the insulation is like nothing to even mention. So it's not really built for that. So I'm really grateful that everything went swimmingly well. So I have some very exciting news. I know we've been talking about this, but I don't know if anyone has actually been keeping tabs on it or keeping count. But it's only about 19 days or so until the fire horse comes blazing in. And if you don't know what that is, that's the start of the Chinese New Year. That's the animal for the new year. And it's all about movement, forward movement. It's all about motion. It's all about freedom. It's all about strength. So it's very exciting, that it's coming up really quick. I'm really excited to see how quickly things start moving for us, how quickly we start manifesting, and how quickly that snake energy is gone. Now, that snake energy has definitely served its purpose, because what does a snake do? It sheds its skin, right? And that's what we have been doing. I've noticed it more this last month than I have noticed it maybe all year. I think it really sped up towards the end of 2025. Um, more stuff coming to the surface that has to be healed, more stuff coming to the surface that we have to deal with so that we can get rid of it. Shedding of the old so we can bring in the new. Um, and I know a lot of people that I've talked to, they've had a lot of old stuff coming up. Many people have been doing life reviews, not necessarily because they sat down and said, I'm going to do a life review, but that's just how it has transpired for most of us. And that life review is just looking back over things. You know, where were you 5 years ago? Where were you 10 years ago? What were you doing? Bringing up old memories, maybe from childhood. And I'm not talking about anything negative that has to be healed, but fun things, good things that you forgot about. Maybe things you loved to do when you were a kid that, you know, over the years you completely forgot about it. A lot of that stuff is coming back up. And it's really kind of fun and it's really exciting. Now, some of the old stuff that's coming up is stuff that we need to heal and get rid of. And that's why I feel like this energy has intensified as the year of the snake is, you know, smoldering out, or slithering out rather. That sounds better. So, I mean, I've noticed a huge difference in the energy, in my energy. Well, what is that? Let's see. If you've been feeling stuck, you know, like there's just stuck energy around you and you're not moving forward, that's going to change very quickly. If you've been feeling unmotivated, you know, that's going to change very quickly. So rest up. I feel like, you know, maybe that's why we've been so tired lately. It's because we need this extra rest for all this stuff that's going to be transpiring. Because I feel like it's going to be a wild ride and it's going to be so worth it. So worth it. I've been feeling some heavy energy for a while now. Not necessarily negative, but just heavy, a heaviness. You know, kind of like when it's really foggy and you can't see clearly, but it's starting to lift. I can feel it starting to lift as we shed more, as we purge more of this old stuff. And I'm really grateful that it's beginning to shift because it's been kind of rough. You know, it's nice to be able to shed that stuff that, you know, no longer serves us, that stuff that's not even ours that we've been carrying around. It's a very freeing feeling when you get rid of all of that. You may be exhausted. You may have been feeling exhausted for a while, and not just on a physical level. I know that's, you know, a lot of what I have been going through. Mine has been a lot on a physical level, but it's been on other levels as well. And that's okay because it's going to pass. It is going to pass. It feels like you're getting an enormous amount of sleep or rest, but you're still feeling tired. You might be feeling overwhelmed with your relationships or your situations, but that's okay because that is going to pass as well. You might feel like people are coming at you from every direction and just, you know, throwing all of their stuff at you, or you might feel like you're very misunderstood. That when you try to talk to someone that they totally don't understand where you're coming from or what you're trying to say. A lot of communication issues like that. And you might be feeling like there's so much stuff you want to do. Maybe you have, you know, a list. Maybe you have a plan, but you just don't get up and do it. It's not that you're being lazy. It's that this is where we are supposed to be and what we're supposed to be doing right now. We are preparing ourselves because this is going to pass, and it's going to pass into this fire energy. Fire energy. And things are going to start happening so much faster as we move into that energy. You're going to be getting so much more done in less time. You're going to feel motivated again. You're going to feel rested again, which I am going to be so grateful for that. And your energy is going to return. And it's probably going to return way better than it was before. Because if you think about it, all this stuff that we've cleared out, that helps our energy. All this new energy that's coming in, and it's going to be very powerful. So that's going to add to our energy. So I'm real excited about it. I'm very, very excited about it. So instead of us feeling like we're stuck in this stagnant energy, we're going to be moving forward very quickly. We're going to be moving forward with passion, with purpose. I feel like things are going to have more meaning to us when we're doing them. And I look forward to hearing about all the wonderful things that are happening for you guys, in the coming months. The year of the fire horse is definitely something to be excited about. And I just learned this today, that the year of the fire horse is considered a particularly dynamic year, occurring only once every 60 years. Every 60 years. So think about that. Think about that. This, it's depending on who's listening. It's very likely that this is the only year of the fire horse that we will experience while we're here. So think about that. Do you want to move easily into this energy, or do you want to fight it every step of the way? And as powerful as it's going to be, fighting it is going to take a lot out of you, right? So I'm going to move right into it. I'm going to let it consume me completely. I want everyone to if you remember, okay, notice between February and 16th and 17th, if you feel a difference in the energy, or if you feel a shift in the energy. This energy is going to be very powerful, and I feel like many of us will be able to actually feel the shift. I know I have woken up many times and felt there was a shift. I don't know if that was from timeline shifting or, what it was, but it's always very exciting when you can feel that shift in energy. Let's take a look at some of these comments over here. Hello, Richard. Patty. Richard says, I was grateful for the help as I got my car into the parking lot. One was a security guard. He turned around and got behind me as I pushed. Oh. Were you stuck in the snow, Richard, or did you have car problems? Not sure. Let's see. Cool. So, yes, Linnell says the VIP show was a great show indeed. So much shifting. There is so much shifting going on. And, I have to say, I was watching Marsha's show Monday night, and I missed like the first few minutes. And she was talking about the Mandela effect and about the Haas avocados. And there are so many different examples of the Mandela effect, right? It's where something has always been one particular way. Now all of a sudden they say that it never existed like that. It's something completely different. Like the Fruit of the Loom logo. They say there wasn't a cornucopia on it or whatever it is they say. And you can actually look it up, and that information is changed. And I've seen this with a lot of the different things, the Mandela effect. The one with the avocados was the spelling of it. HAAS, avocados. That's how it's always been. Well, when you look it up now, it's HASS. But a Mandela effect is always kind of like, it's always amazed me in a way. And every time I hear a story about it, it really gets my attention. Because if you really think about it, I mean, it's kind of like something that pretty much like you feel like your head's going to explode. It's absolutely crazy. Snake is gone in my partnership as well. Oh, good. Thank you, Linnell. Resting for the go, coming so true. Yeah, I think it's going to be, I think this is going to be some of the most powerful energy we've experienced in a long time. Oh, car problems. I'm sorry, Richard. That always stinks, doesn't it? Grateful that you had someone there to help you. Imagine if you didn't. Um, so I don't know what made me bring up the Mandela effect, but if you guys, have ever read anything about that or heard anything about it, there are a lot of examples out there. And it just shows you how timelines really do shift and how there are alternate timelines, which is something I know that it's hard for our human mind to grasp. It's just like the time travel thing. There's a great movie out, The Time Traveler's Wife, with Rachel McAdams, and I don't remember who the guy was. And he was a time traveler. And I love the movie, but I had to watch it a few times because I get such a headache when I watch this movie, not because it's not a good movie, because the whole concept of the time travel is really hard on my brain. And there's been a couple of other movies like that too. But when they travel in time and do something different, they travel back and do something different, it completely changes the future. So, that's one of those concepts that is hard for our brain, but it's very interesting. And when you really, look at it, you can see how things, the cause and effect, how one thing affects something else. Richard says, I know they had it because I owned a pair. I know, I remember it too. I remember it very clearly. Linnell says, I met a young kid today in the line boarding. A full channeling came in with him. It was pretty cool. The eye contact and the full body goosebumps. He just lit up in being seen. His mom. Aw. Hi, Laura. Welcome. Laura. Linnell says, touched my arm and gave me such incredible thank you for touching out to him. It was very cool. That is very cool. Incredible light worker indeed. A knower. Wow, that is really awesome. What a great experience. And you don't expect it's just going to happen when you're standing in line, right? But a lot of times it does. Now just imagine if you wouldn't have reached out to him. So good for you for doing that. That is awesome. So yeah, there's lots of different examples of that. What is some kind of do you guys have any of those like concepts like that? Like for me, it's the time travel. It makes my head hurt because I try to look at it from a human perspective. Hi, Carol-Ann. Is there anything like that in your life that your brain has a hard time, wrapping your head around? An idea, a concept, whatever. But that's the one that is for me. I think whenever I watch those kinds of movies, I think they're like the coolest ones ever. But at the same time, it's hard for my brain to comprehend it. Richard said, I'm a sci-fi fan. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's lots of interesting stuff in the sci-fi movies and shows, huh? Definitely. But, I think as things are moving along as they have been, I think we're going to see more and more of this Mandela effect. I think we're definitely going to see more examples. They had one a while back about Richard Simmons that he never wore the headband. Totally not true, because when I was a teenager, he was on General Hospital and he had a health club or something. And he used to wear it all the time. And then there's the one with Britney Spears and the microphone. And it's just, every time I hear a new one, I think, oh, we must have shifted again. So it's kind of exciting in a way, as long as you can, wrap your head around that. But there's no, arguing about it. Yes, there was, no, there wasn't, because whatever timeline you're in, that was your reality. Then as things shift, it changes everything. Before the show, I did pull a card for the group, and I just want to share this with you. I thought it was kind of cool. It's the number 45, which could be 9. And it says, beyond the ordinary. And look at this spectacular picture. Why would we want to be ordinary? Why would we want an ordinary life? Anybody can have that. We need to go beyond that. We need to go beyond that and have an extraordinary life, an extraordinary experience. Because anybody can do the ordinary, right? And we know that we were born to shine. We know that we were born to share our light. So in everything that we do, let's put that extraordinary stuff in there, right? Instead of it being ordinary, it's going to be extra. And really pay attention to what energy you're feeling. Maybe you can't put your finger on what it is, but something's changed. I remember one morning I woke up and I went out to have my coffee. This was back a summer or two ago. And I walked outside and I was like, oh my gosh, the energy had completely shifted. Now, did somebody maybe move in or move out of our neighborhood? Possibly. And their energy was no longer there, or this new energy moved in. But it was just it was so different. It was just so calm and so quiet. And so it's hard to even describe it. But as soon as I walked out that door, I could feel the energy had shifted. Trying to put your finger on it sometimes at what it actually is and how it actually feels is not always easy. But sometimes it is. Liddell says his mom he needed that so much. I'm sure Hawaii was so kicking him in path. Yeah, for our incredible guides. Yeah, definitely. Richard says, love, happy, joyful, and willing to change and grow. Awesome. And that's the thing. All this stuff is coming at us that we can choose to look the other way, right? We don't have to accept this energy. We don't have to accept change. We can fight it all the way. But, in the end, that's going to make it so, and along the way, it's going to make it so much more difficult for us. And a lot of times that change, that's coming is inevitable. And it's going to happen with or without your assistance, depending on what it is. Depending on what your contract was, depending on what you are here to do. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and give some messages. And I am going to start with Mr. Richard. And the cards that I am using are Soul Truth cards. And I've used these before. They're by, well, I don't know who they're by. The way it's written, I can't read what it says. Something, the first name, I don't know. The last name looks like Hovey. Maybe Brienne. It's in a strange cursive. Okay, Richard, what do we have for you? Linnell says, we are our own writers. Make yourself a masterpiece, definitely. And we are all a work in progress, aren't we? Definitely. Everything that, every circumstance, every situation that we come in contact with is for our best and highest good. We don't always feel like it is when it's happening, but it really is. And it helps us to grow. Learning our lessons. I know people who will learn their lesson the first or second time. Not always the first time, but usually by the second time. And then I know people who, after 8 times, have not learned that lesson. And it can be kind of frustrating, but people are on their own journey. They have to go through things for themselves, and we can't do it for them. Not that they would really listen to us anyway, because obviously if they're experiencing the same thing for the 8th time, they're not that good at listening, right? And we know what happens by the 8th time. The first or second time, our guides, angels are like, hey, I'm going to nudge you in this direction. I'm going to help you out a little bit. But you got to do it for yourself. Then the next time, it's even more of a knock. The next time, it's even more of a knock. Because our life is a spiral. We keep going around and around and around. And we keep coming back to those things that we didn't learn from, the first time. And each time it gets more intense. So it's so much easier for us when we can learn it quickly in the journey. Onward for the best and better. Yes, Linnell. Okay, Richard, I think I shuffled your cards enough. Let's see what we have. Richard, am I ready to let go of this buried shame? I've never liked that word shame. When my mom's dog would do something, she'd always say, shame on you, Molly. Shame on you, Molly. And I used to think, I don't understand that. Why would you want to shame someone? It says the feeling of shame is the lowest energy frequency there is. Wow. When you live in shame, you live in darkness. What part of you is ready to stand in the light? Is there any shame from a past experience that is ready to be healed? So for me, it says here, to heal the shame by giving it a name, bring it to the light and let it be seen, heard, and healed. Replace shame with your soul's truth. See, for me, and I don't know if this is true, but I've always felt shame and being embarrassment were kind of the same thing. At least that's as I was growing up. And after that, I've just decided that I don't accept shame at all. Because it's kind of a useless, emotion or feeling. So is there something that maybe in a past experience that you were embarrassed about? Maybe you were embarrassed to talk about it. Maybe something happened that embarrassed you, going to work and forgetting your pants. I don't know. But we all have different levels of things that kind of embarrass us. But if there is anything, Richard, bring that to the light and heal it. Because according to that message, it's kind of buried, so you might have to dig a little. But if it's there, you will find it. And what's funny is when we go back and we do our life review, we can see, I can remember things when I was young that that I got embarrassed by. But when I think about them now, it was like nothing, absolutely nothing. So don't let it, have any control over your life. Laura. Let's see what we have for Laura. Laura, it says, what can I burn? What can I burn? And I don't think they mean necessarily in the physical sense. But it says, make the choice that you will no longer let the past define you. Pick up your pen. What will your next chapter look like? Because you are currently writing your next chapter. Okay. It says, let me get my little light here. If I can. Oh, this phone is so difficult. Okay, well, let's try a different way here. It says, burn it all. The ugly lies, the pain, the shame, the criticism, the images that run through your head, the reminders of what you did wrong, and the proof that you are not enough. Burn, baby, burn. Your soul is calling. It's time for a rebirth. You are like the phoenix rising from the ashes, no longer attached to the past. You are fine. Oh no, you are free. Your wings are ready. Use them. So many times we define ourselves by things that we did in the past. And I know a lot of people that do this, or we will judge someone else because of what they did in the past, of who they used to be. Well, there's this thing called life and experiences and wisdom. And we learn and we grow and we evolve all the time, all the time. So we are not that same person anymore. So don't define yourself by, maybe how you used to be. Know your worth. Know your truth, which I know you do. You shared on your show some artwork that you were doing, Laura. And it was just amazing, the angel feathers that you did. And I mean, you should be very proud of yourself. You're very talented. You really are. And the colors that you used, they were just so incredible in the way you blended them together. And it was just so beautiful. Now, maybe back in the day, you couldn't do stuff like that. And it made you feel, very untalented or something. So don't have those ideas in the back of your head of anything that you used to be, because you're not the same person anymore. None of us are. None of us are. So, remember that. Realize how much you've grown and changed and evolved. Don't listen to those lies that doubt will try to plant in your head, because we all get those. We just have to kick them to the curb. Hi, Robin. Linnell says, too funny. Your story brought a memory of my uncle. He forgot his shorts in a basketball game. Came running out in his jockstrap and jersey. Thanks for the giggle memory. Think I'll check in. Oh my gosh, that is pretty funny, Linnell. That is pretty funny. I'm going to give you your message right now, Linnell. It says, where am I called to use my voice right now? Are you being called in a different direction, Linnell? It says, share your story with at least one person today. Be brave and speak your truth. Your voice will be the catalyst for healing in others. You have a soul song, you have a soul script that was written to be spoken. Your story matters, and it's time for you to share it with the world. So, and I love that the story that you shared about the young man at the airport, because you were using your voice right then, and it helped him. And it says that you will be the catalyst for healing in others. Now, who knows the ripple effects? And I just got chills when I said that. Who knows the ripple effects that experience is going to, produce from him going forward. So it's very exciting. Continue speaking your truth, continue using your voice, and continue following that intuition and guidance. Good for you, Leno. Heather. Will do again. Happy tears. Thanks. Oh, you're welcome. Well, you know, it's really awesome that you did that, Leno, because, you know, a lot of people may have had an experience like that and thought, okay, if I try to tell this young man, you know, the information I'm getting, he's going to think I'm nuts. Or, you know, he might be very unreceptive and be very rude. So you just avoid it. But you didn't. You just dove right in. And that's just so amazing. Heather. Oh, this is a long one. Okay, Heather. It says, where am I with my health goals? Where do I want to be? Why am I not there? What will it take for me to feel well? Wow. That one kind of felt like a gut punch. So I know you have health goals because I know you have shared them before. How are things coming along for you? Have any of those goals changed over time? Are you still working on the same things, or have you surpassed those and working on something else? Or has this energy kind of, you know, paralyzed you as well as a lot of us? Well, know that with this new energy that's coming in, all that is going to change. So set those goals. Because everything is achievable. You can do it all. Do it all. Oh, thank you, Carolyn. Carolyn likes the cards. Leno says, it was like my light language. It just came out. His eyes told me go. To be seen. Let those little ones know that they are okay. That is so awesome. So I hope that resonates with you, Heather. Just reevaluate your health goals, because I feel like you're going to be able to accomplish things much, much quicker with this new energy that's coming in. Maureen. Says, who can I serve today? Listen to your heart. Who needs you? Make one soulful connection today and give solely to spread more love, expecting nothing in return. Notice the joy you feel when you serve others. And I know one of your messages today was about love. Love, love, love. And serving others, you know, that means assisting others, helping others. You know, it can be something just like holding the door for another person. I can remember when I had my first 3 kids, and they were each a year and a half apart. So I had like a baby and like a 3-year-old, and 2 of them were in the stroller, and then one was walking. And I was going to the mall, and do you know, not one person would help open that door for me or hold the door for me. And I was just like, wow, if somebody had opened that door and held the door for me, it would have like been like the sun came out from behind the clouds and was shining on me. It would have felt that good and that amazing. So don't ever think that any act or anything that you might do is too small, because it isn't. Every effort that you make makes a difference in the life of someone else. Okay. Well, that was more me. I noticed, I can't remember where it was, I feel like it was in Michigan, but I could be wrong. But I don't know. And I was in the grocery store. And as I'm going up and down the aisles, I'm noticing everyone. I'm very observant. And, not one person that I passed in that grocery store looked up or smiled or said hello. They were like, I don't know if it was just the mood of the day, but I had never really experienced that before. No one was talking to anyone else. They were all just like in their own little world. And to me, it was very strange. A lot of times people, especially elderly people who might live alone and, don't have many people around that they even know, just saying, hi, how are you? You might be the only person they've talked to that week. My grandpa was like that. He lived alone after my grandma transitioned, and that was quite a lot of years. And he didn't get many people to come and visit him. He lived kind of far from us, so when we would go out there and visit, we'd stay like for the weekend or whatever, and my mom and dad too. And from all the talking he did while we were there, he would not be able to talk for like a week. He would have like laryngitis or whatever because he wasn't used to talking. And I thought that was so incredibly sad. So, if it was like that for him, there's a lot more people out there like that as well. So, treat other people the way you would want to be treated. That's what my dad always taught me. Patty. Patty, Patty, Patty. Patty. To whom am I comparing myself right now? I hope you say no one, because don't ever compare yourself to anyone else. Today, stop comparing and start creating. What you are able to see in another is only visible because it is within you, ready to be brought out. Shine light on this feeling of not enough and see the truth. All that you need and want is within you. And it's very true. How could you see something in someone else if it didn't exist in you? You're welcome, Richard. So remember that. Remember that. And when you see something else and see something in someone else that you really like or admire, know that that's in you. If you don't feel that within yourself, you can find it. You can find it there. And you can bring it out more to the forefront. And then other people are going to see it as well, whatever it may be. Roy. Linnell says, love our tribe. Me too. Laura says, thank you, Ruth. I appreciate the words of encouragement. You are wonderful. You are wonderful, Laura. One day, Marcello's dad left for work in his undies. He forgot to put his pants on, and they stopped him They stopped him in the nick of time. Oh my goodness! That's like something you think people like that worry a lot. That would be a nightmare they have. Not that people would actually do that. Linnell says, coming into San Francisco, loved our time until we play again. Great space ahead for all. Yes. Have a great night, Linnell. Get home safely. Or wherever you're going. Roy. Couldn't remember who I said. What do we have for Roy? Roy. How can I infuse more self-love and compassion into my daily life? Now, this is self-love, which is for the self, obviously, and the compassion is also for you. If your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. Linnell says, San Francisco, then Seattle, then Bend. Almost home. Well, good for you. So choose one self-care action to do today, Roy. Set stronger boundaries. Meditate and listen to your heart. Speak to yourself with compassion. Focus on your strengths. Say no to something that isn't a soul yes. So if you're not feeling it, if your soul doesn't want to do it, say no. Say yes to something you are afraid of. Overcome that fear. Because that's the only way we overcome our fears, right? Is to face it head on. Let go of what you cannot control. Stay far away from drama and negativity. Ask for help and allow it. Write down 3 things you are grateful for. Yes, so many of us are just learning how to love ourselves. And for a lot of us, we don't have compassion for ourselves like we do for other people. We have to have that same kind of compassion for ourselves. Patty says, love your message, Ruth. Thanks. You're welcome. It's very important. You have to give yourself all the same things that you willingly give to others. Love, compassion, truth. And I like that about, I forget exactly how it was worded about. So I think it said something. If it didn't, then it popped into my head about self-talk. Joanne Leo talks a lot about this on her show, about how we talk to ourselves. And a lot of people have that very negative self-talk. And when you're thinking, like in your head, if you're thinking, you do something in your head, you're like, oh, geez, I'm such a dummy. Okay, you're thinking it in your head, and how many times do we say it out loud? So now we're hearing it as well. So that's kind of like a double whammy. We have to say kind things to ourselves. It might seem silly, but we don't think anything when we say negative things to ourselves. So keep all that in mind. See how you can show yourself love and compassion on a daily basis, Roy. Carol Ann. Well, this is interesting, Carol Ann. What boundaries need to be created or strengthened within my relationships? And it says a lot here. When you separate your energy from others, or when we separate our energy from others, we gain clarity about what we really want. Then we stop doing things that no longer aligns with ourselves. If you are an empath, you can still be compassionate towards others without taking on their stuff. It is safe to trust that you are not here to fix anyone. To create more healthy boundaries, we first must get in tune with our own needs, desires, and feelings, and believe we are worthy of them. In your relationship, it's essential to know where they end and where you begin. And sometimes when we're in a relationship, especially it could be a romantic one, but a lot of times it could be a parent-child relationship. It could be a friend relationship. We get lost in that relationship. We totally lose our own identity, or we kind of become more like the other person because they wanted us to we want them to like us, or for whatever reason. I mean, think back to relationships you've been in. How many times did you do stuff you didn't want to do just because the other person wanted to do it? So you may just need to strengthen those boundaries of, like, with yourself, of, I'm not doing nothing I don't want to do anymore. It's okay to say no, because it is. If it's not something you feel or you desire to do, don't do it. Don't do it. That's your time and your energy that's going into something that you don't even want to do. And, as we get older, we realize that there's really no point in that. Not at all. Think back to, like, when you were young. I know, especially like when I was young, I used to do that all the time. And then, you never enjoy whatever the activity is because you didn't want to do it in the first place. So just look and see if you need to strengthen any boundaries. Joe. What can I do to make a difference? It says, make a difference in someone's life today, big or small, because all of it makes a difference, which I was just talking about, even, holding the door for someone. What keeps you up at night? What makes you cringe when you think about it? Such that every ounce of you screams no more. Where can you create purpose out of your pain? So, what do you feel is, you don't have to answer this here, but think about this, Joe. What do you feel is your biggest weakness? Now, I don't mean, at like lifting a chair or something. I mean within you. What do you feel is your your weakness? We all have strengths and weaknesses. Find that within yourself. Find that and figure out ways to strengthen it. It'll make you a much stronger person. It'll make you a much happier person. And don't focus on those things. Focus on the positive. Focus on the strengths. Don't focus on the weaknesses. We can always make our weaknesses stronger, right? Robin. Robin, am I apologizing for my truth? Never apologize for your truth. It says, what part of you is apologizing for your truth and why? Courage is contagious. Today, be proud of your truth, which I know you are. I have heard you telling your story on your show a lot. I mean, about your health journey. And that is your truth. And sure, there's going to be people out there that don't agree with you, or, are sitting there saying, I would have done it differently, because everyone has an opinion. But who cares? You are the one that is living your life. You get to make the decisions for your life. Just don't ever be, I know sometimes around certain people, you might be like, I kind of don't really want to talk about this, and it's not that you are not living in your truth, but some people can be very confrontational about things. When my mom got her diagnosis of cancer, they tried to give her radiation, chemo, surgery, everything. And she's like, no, I'm not doing any of it. And we did a couple of things. We did some stuff at home that we had heard about. And she was like, I just don't want to tell everybody. She goes, she just kind of made it like, I haven't really made up my mind yet, because she thought she'd get a lot of crap from family members. And I told her right from the beginning, I said, I love you, Mom. This is your decision, and whatever you choose to do, I will support you. thank God she chose what she did, because I would have supported her and I would have taken her to the, for her treatments and stuff, but that would have been so hard because I didn't feel that was the right way to go. But it wasn't my choice. And we have to be respectful of other people's choices. And I think that you give such amazing information about that, about your health journey. And it's probably helped so many people already, Robin. So good for you. Okay, Tiffany. What passion am I ready to pursue? You have more, don't you? More passions. It says, trust your soul's whispering and let your passion draw you towards your dreams, towards your dream life. Write a list of the passions to which you want to give life right now. Then journal how you can incorporate more of what you are passionate about into your daily life. That's the important thing. Finding our passion is one thing, but how can you incorporate that into your life to bring it alive and to bring you alive? It says your passions will continually lead you to your purpose. What passions have you put to the side, given up on, or buried? What passion is ready to come alive in you? Well, that's a pretty exciting card there, Tiffany. I look forward to finding that out. And I've noticed too, a lot of times when we're passionate about more than one thing, it can tie into a lot of other things. Like it all ties together. Like say you're very passionate about helping someone or helping. Well, that could be helping animals. That could be helping people. That could be working with kids. That could have to do with nature. I mean, everything ties in. So having multiple passions, they might all guide you to the same one thing. Robin said, thank you so much, Ruth. I used to apologize for my truth. You are spot on. I do not talk about cancer much because I am afraid I will speak into existence. Thank you. I love and appreciate you. I love and appreciate you. You did work hard to heal. And, go back and watch one of your old shows, Robin. You look so different now. And that would be one good way for you to see it, because you see yourself in the mirror all the time. But go back and look at one of your shows from a year or two ago. You look very, very different now. I think you will be amazed. So I hope you try that and you go and look, because you could see just by comparing the two how much you have grown and how much you have healed. Thank you so much for being here. I'm very grateful for all of you. I hope everyone has a wonderful week, and it's supposed to get cold again this weekend, so stay warm and cozy and snuggly. Have a great week, everybody. I love you all so much. Good night.